talking about how in the movie Cars, specifically the first one, economics is seen in many ways throughout. From what I pulled when watching the movie, I saw that supply and demand was most prevalent in the movie, specifically the shifters of demand and the shifters of supply, and then the law of supply and law of demand. Throughout the movie, I pulled multiple clips where this is seen. Let's watch the first one and try to figure out if it's either the shifter of demand, shifter of supply, if it shifts up or down, and how it changes the equilibrium.
There's a new cat in town, he's got high-paid friends. Thinks he's gonna change history. You think you know him so well, yeah, you think he's so swell, but it's just perpetuating prophecy. Come on now, slow down, you're gonna crash.
Okay, so in that first clip, we see that there are more cars sitting closer to the track. And this was because there was a rumor going around that those cars sitting closer to the track and witnessing Lightning McQueen racing around Dinoco 400 were supposed to get a benefit of going 25 miles per hour faster after sitting that close in the race. So that is a customer taste and preference, right? These cars, they want to go faster, so this would shift our demand. As we see here, we have supply in purple and demand in pink. So this would shift our demand to the right. So here's our demand after the race, or after this rumor came out. So right, we're gonna shift it up. And then our old equilibrium was here. So this is where the price was before the rumor, and this is where the quantity produced was before the rumor. But after the rumor came out, these cars get this benefit of going faster when they sit closer. The price shifts and quantity shifts as well. Okay, let's head on and take a look at the second example.
Yard.
Hey, look, there he is!
Are almost there. Get your rear ended here, kid.
Lightning McQueen, you are wicked fast! Yeah, you were booking McQueen!
Give me a little room, guys.
You're my hero, Mr. McQueen!
Yes, I know. Fred, thank
He
you.
knows my name! He knows my name!
Okay, so for our second clip, we see that there's a difference between the cars like Lightning and then those old rusty cars. So for this example, we're gonna say that income increases in this town. So that means that there's gonna be more cars that look like Lightning McQueen. So let's see what this would do to the graph. So before there was an increase in income, our equilibrium was here. The quantity produced of cars like Lightning was here. And the price of cars like Lightning was here. But since the demand shifted, because one of the shifters of demand is income, we're going to see, that's our demand one, we're going to see a new equilibrium form, because now there's more of a demand for these cars since price increased, because cars like Lightning are no more good, and these rusty cars are inferior goods. So right, once income increases, the demand for these inferior goods decreases, but the demand for these normal goods like Lightning McQueen increase. So that explains why the quantity produced after the change in income increases. So we see that the demand shifts, which shifts the quantity. And then the price increases as well.
Hello, race fans, and welcome to what has become quite simply the biggest event in the history of racing. A three-way battle for the Piston Cup.
Bob, there's a crowd of nearly 200,000 cars here at the Los Angeles International Speedway. Tickets to this race.
In this clip here, we see that there's a mass amount of consumers that want to come see Lightning race in Dinoco 400. So this is a shifter of demand because the number of consumers in it is increasing. So our old equilibrium is here where supply and demand intersects. The quantity produced is here, and the price is here. But, again, like I said, the number of customers is increasing, which shifts our demand curve up, which also then in turn moves our equilibrium. meaning that there is more tickets being sold because the quantity is shifting as well. And our price increases.
Of my life.
All right, Luigi. Give me the best set of black walls you've got.
No. You don't know what you want. Luigi know what you want. Black wall tires, they blend into the pavement. But these white wall tires, they say, look at me. Here I am. Love me.
All right, you're the expert.
In this clip, we see that Luigi is an expert in producing tires. And in this scenario, Luigi is making economic profit. And as we've learned, if a producer is making economic profit, many producers are going to shift and want to move to Luigi's industry of producing tires because he's making positive economic profit. So, more producers will shift our supply. So here's our old equilibrium. Prices here, quantities here, and it'll shift it down. So this is our supply one, because again, more producers are joining the tire industry. This decreases the price and it increases the quantity. Because if there are more producers that are producing these tires, they're able to manufacture them at a cheaper price. And since there's more producers, there's going to be more people producing the product, which explains why, in turn, our quantity increases as well.
Guns.
Guido, it's time.
Hey, Tiny, you gonna clean his windshield?
As we can see in that clip, as Lightning moves around the track, he does have to get his tires replaced every so often. And unfortunately, one of the inputs for tire, which is rubber, has an increase in price. So here's our original equilibrium before the price increase happened. Again, this would be increasing the input of what it makes, or what the cost is to produce for tires. So this is going to shift our supply. So that's our equilibrium before. It's going to shift our supply up. Sorry about that. It's going to shift our supply up. So there we can see our supply shifts up. Now our new equilibrium is here. Our price increases because we have to pay more for more inputs of rubber. And the quantity decreases because it now costs more to produce.
Lightning McQueen here, and I use Rusty's medicated bumper ointment, new rear end formula. Nothing sues a rusty bumper like Rusty's. Wow, look at that shine. Use Rusty's, and you too can look like me. Ka-chow!
For our last clip here, we're going to be focusing on how Lightning McQueen is now being sponsored by the Rusty's oil that he can put on his car parts, and it can make the rust go away. So this is a new chemical formula, which is a new technology. Technology is one of the shifters of supply. So we'll see the supply line go down. So here's our original equilibrium. The price is here. The quantity is here. But with the new technology, this shifts our supply line down. Yeah, shifts our supply line down or to the right, which makes our price decrease and our quantity increase. So let's think about this for a second. Originally, to fix cars with rust on it, there's not new technology. So the number of cars that don't have rust on them is lower because the price is higher. But now with this new anti-rust technology that removes the rust and this new chemical formula, this makes it so there's more cars out on the road. There's a bigger quantity of cars that don't have rust on them due to this formula, and this formula makes it more accessible for all cars to use, explaining why the price decreases. So in the end, throughout the video, there's been a couple main economic concepts that we've been trying to highlight. One being equilibrium. Equilibrium is where supply and demand intersect. So in this example, equilibrium would be here. And say we move our demand curve up, our new equilibrium would be here. Another economic concept that we've been trying to highlight throughout the video is the law of supply versus the law of demand. The law of supply has a direct relationship. So as we can see, if we put a point on the curve, our price is here and our quantity demanded is here, right? So our price is here and our quantity demanded is here. If we move up the graph to say equilibrium, our price increases and our quantity demanded also increases. So this explains why they have a direct relationship. But in terms of demand, price and quantity demanded have an indirect relationship. So let's explain this theory. If we're looking at this point on the demand curve, our price is high, but the quantity demanded is low. So let's move down to equilibrium. Our price decreases and the quantity increases. So this explains why with demand, the law of demand is an inverse relationship, but with supply, price and quantity demanded have a direct relationship. Lastly, one thing that we've been trying to talk about throughout the video is that there are different shifters for supply and there are different shifters for demand. Some shifters of demand are the number of consumers, consumers' tastes and preferences, and then income. Whereas some shifters for supply are things like new technology, number of sellers, and the price of inputs. In the end, thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned some cool new economic concepts that you too can point out in some movies that you watch in the future.